Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to do a quick unboxing on the Westcott Designs TRD Pro lift kit. That's their preload collar lift. And the reason being is that there's a few of you guys that have asked on the forums, what the measurements are, how does this work? What was the deal with, the wait times and whatnot? Well, supposedly, and let me show you on the actual vehicle itself. The top hat bolts, I guess, were not long enough, or they're not long enough for the TRD on the TRD Pros. So when you put in the pre-collar or the preload collar on the bottom, right, and maybe even the half-inch shim that goes on the lift, I guess there's not enough threads on these bolts on the top hats to be able to do that. I don't know. This looks like there's plenty of thread on these top hats, so not sure what that means. But they were saying that it didn't, there weren't enough, and they had to create a new redesign for the TRD Pros. Not sure about the Trail Hunters. I don't have one, so I can't comment on it. And that's why they've been on pre-order, and that's why I ordered these back in March, and they just arrived earlier this week, which is nuts. So that's kind of the deal here. I'm gonna call Westcott Design and just kind of show them this video or pictures of the bolts and just say, hey, it seems like there's enough, but what do I know? Anyways, that's what's happening. I'm still struggling on whether or not I want to lift this thing or not. I kind of like the squat look as it stands right now, but who knows? But these are the top hats. So as you can see, this is a 1-inch top hat that goes on the strut. As you can see, instead of having the bolts on the OEM top hats going up and then you're screwing them on from the top, these go from the top down, right? So this sits, and then you would take this bolt and basically screw it in from the top into this top hat. And that's basically how this would operate, right? So don't quite know what these things are yet, but I'll figure that out. Well, I'll let 626 Customs figure that out. But that's kind of it. This would give you, I believe, just the top hat alone would give you about 1 inch of a lift, which is all I need. I don't want that 2.5-inch lift that comes standard on the new 6th Gen 4Runners. It would make this thing look, in my opinion, awful. I kind of like the squatted look. And, here's how it is sitting right now. So you can see in the front, I'd like for it to be just a little bit higher. So I think 1 inch is fine. The rear pucks would lift this about 0.75 in the rear. So it would still give it that nice little rake. But again, still kind of like the look of it. I like the way it rides. Obviously once you put the top hats on, it will change the geometry just a tad. It'll probably make it a little bit stiffer in the front, which would eliminate that nosedive regardless, because the Foxes have always been super soft on the TRD Pros. That's why I switched to Kings on my 5th gen. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. Only adding the top hat if the preload collar, which is in this box, doesn't allow me to use the OEM top hats. So these are the rear pucks. They're 1-inch pucks that give a 0.75-inch lift in the rear. They're beautifully designed, just like all Westcotts. I actually have these on my wife's Sequoia TRD Pro. Same lift because I like the Foxes on it. And these are the preload collars. So I'm gonna take a measurement of these to see how much thicker they are versus the OEM ones right now that are seated, and kind of trying to measure twice and cut once in the situation and see what's the best scenario of the right lift. Is it just this or is it just this? I don't think putting both of these on is the right move for the TRD Pros. That's just my honest opinion. I think it'll make the front end look so much taller. And if both of those go on, I have a feeling that's not enough to give it, a front rake. It would look like a reverse rake, my opinion. But I guess we're just learning as we go, and maybe it's just trial and error, but I will call Westcott Design and see what the hell's going on with this kit. There are no spacers that come with it. Those half-inch shims that go in the front. I'm assuming because you got plenty of lift here, but who knows? Maybe this combination with this, given that it seems like there's enough threads on the OEM ones, would have been the right choice. I don't know. So I might not even put the whole thing on. And if I only use the top hats, then I might just return this. But I was thinking I probably still need these. So I don't know. I think a little bit more R&D needs to go into these from Westcott just to get it right. I know that I've been asking for them as soon as possible, but sometimes you can't rush this stuff, man. But anyways, thanks again for subscribing to the channel. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think and the direction you guys might be going in. And I will do more videos on this, especially on the install, and also give you guys measurements of where it sits currently and where it would sit afterwards. All right, till next time.